right, let's dive into a really fascinating modern fable. It's called The Knight in Rusty Armor by Robert Fisher, and it's this powerful story all about a journey of self-discovery. And, it's a quest that might just feel a little more familiar than you think.
And hey, don't let the word fable fool you. This is definitely not just a children's story. It's really for anyone out there who's ever felt like the walls they built up to protect themselves slowly started to feel more like a prison.
So this is the big question at the heart of the whole story. It's asking us to take a good, hard look at our own emotional armor, the defenses we all put up every day, and to really think about that turning point. What happens when the very thing that was supposed to keep you safe starts to trap you instead? Okay, let's meet our hero. On the surface, he's a great guy. He sees himself as good, kind, and loving. He's out there slaying dragons, rescuing people, pretty much doing everything a good knight is supposed to do. But underneath all that shiny metal, there's a problem brewing. And this is where it gets really interesting. Look at the difference between how he appeared and who he really was. To the world, he was the #1 knight in the kingdom, a hero. But in private, inside that armor that he literally never took off, he was becoming cold and distant from his wife Juliet and his son Christopher, the people he was supposedly doing all this for. And then, bam, the wake-up call. It comes from his wife, Juliet, and she hits him with this absolute truth bomb. She says he's more in love with the idea of being a hero than he is with her, and she gives him an ultimatum. Get the armor off or she and their son are gone. So you'd think that's that, right? He'll just take it off. Well, here's the twist. He tries, and he can't. The helmet's stuck. The visor is jammed shut. He is physically, literally trapped. And not even the strongest blacksmith in the whole kingdom can get it off him. So totally desperate and all alone, the knight just leaves. He abandons his castle and wanders into the woods, looking for the one person who might be able to help him, the famous wizard, Merlin. While he's with Merlin, he gets hit with this just heartbreaking moment. Merlin suggests he send a note to his son, so he does. But when the reply comes back, it's just a blank piece of paper. Merlin has to explain the devastating reason why. His son doesn't know him well enough to even write a response. Ouch. That realization just completely breaks him. For the first time in years, the knight actually cries. And as these real, genuine tears run down his face, something incredible happens. A piece of his armor just rusts and falls away. He's just figured out the secret. It's not about force. It's about true, honest feeling. Now that he gets it, Merlin shows him the way out. But it's not the easy path he came in on. Merlin calls that one the path of dishonesty. No, this new one is steep. It's difficult. It is the path of truth. And it's the only way he's ever going to get the rest of that armor off. And yeah, this path is no walk in the park. To get to the top of the mountain and find his real self, our knight first has to make it through 3 different castles, and each one is like a major life lesson he's been avoiding forever. So these are the big 3. First, the Castle of Silence, where he's got to learn to actually listen. Then, the Castle of Knowledge, where he has to get to know himself. And finally, the Castle of Will and Daring, where, you guessed it, he has to face his biggest fears. So inside the first castle, it's just dead quiet. And for a guy who's been hiding inside noisy armor his whole life, that is terrifying. But as he sits with it, he starts to hear a voice. And it's not Merlin. It's his own inner voice, a part of him that's been buried for years. He even gives it a name, Sam. He's finally starting to meet himself. In the next castle, the Castle of Knowledge, he has this huge aha moment. He realizes that his whole life's ambition to be the #1 knight came from his head, from his ego. And he learns there's a totally different kind of ambition, one that comes from the heart. It's about serving others and being your best self, not about winning. Okay, so he's making real progress, but just before he can get to that last castle, what does he find blocking the path? Oh, just a giant, terrifying, fire-breathing dragon. And this is no ordinary dragon. It's literally all of his own fears and doubts come to life. And get this, he has no sword, no shield. Merlin's not there to save him.
The only weapon he has is a single truth he learned back in the Castle of Knowledge, the belief that fear and doubt aren't real. They're just illusions. So armed with just that thought, he starts walking right towards the dragon. And as he repeats to himself, fear and doubt are illusions, the most amazing thing happens. The dragon starts to shrink. The more he believes the truth, the smaller and smaller the dragon gets until, poof, it just disappears. He learned that facing his fears is what makes them powerless. So he's passed all the trials, he's at the very top of the mountain, he's almost there. But of course, there's one last test. A huge, sheer cliff face stands in his way, and this is going to be the scariest part of all. And carved right there into the rock is this message. It's the key to everything. The final lesson. Basically, to find what he's looking for, his true self. He has to be willing to let go of everything he thinks he knows. His identity, his past, his beliefs, even his grip on the rock itself. And after everything he has been through, in this incredible act of faith and courage, that is exactly what he does. He takes a deep breath and he lets go, falling backward into the unknown.
But he doesn't crash and burn. In that moment of complete and total surrender, something miraculous happens. It triggers his final and most amazing transformation.
As he's falling, he's not scared. He actually feels this deep sense of connection, of peace. And he starts falling upwards. It's this beautiful paradox. By letting go of everything he thought he was, he gained a connection to everything, to the entire universe.
And as he stands there on the summit, his heart is just overflowing, not with sadness, but with pure gratitude for his light, for his journey, for everything. And these tears of joy are so hot they melt the very last piece of his armor. He's finally completely free. And he's just radiating love.
So the knight's journey ends there, but it leaves us with a pretty powerful question, doesn't it? It kind of turns the mirror back on us. It makes you think about your own armor, your own defenses. And it asks, what would you gain if you had the courage to let it go? What armor are you ready to remove?